Some friendships are meant to last forever, while others are rooted in secret, envy, and a thirst for destruction. Once upon a time, there lived two women, Nina and Nkem, best friends or so it seemed. Nina and Nkem had been very close since childhood, but their lives were very different. Nkem was that friend who attracted everything good. She met and married Uche, a kind, wealthy husband who adored her, and her happiness seemed unending. Meanwhile, Nina struggled to find love and was secretly consumed with envy. Nina sat on the porch of her neatly kept apartment that hot afternoon. Sound of distant honking cars and vendors drifted into the air, but none of it mattered to Nina. She was lost in thought, her gaze fixed on the phone in her hand, a shock on her face. She had just received another text message from her best friend Nkem. It was a picture, a beautiful picture of Nkem's husband, Uche, standing proudly beside his newly acquired luxury car. The caption read, "The love of my life never stops surprising me. He got me a car as a push gift. Can you believe that? We should meet at our usual spot. We need to celebrate this," Nkem wrote. Nina was consumed with anger at this point. Why always her, for goodness sake? Nkem adjusted her emerald silk scarf, admiring the glow it brought to her smooth brown skin in the mirror. Life had been nothing short of a dream since she married Uche. He was not just a wealthy man, he was very attentive, kind and generous. A combination Nkem had only thought existed in fairy tales. That morning, Uche had surprised her with a box containing a set of diamond earrings and a handwritten note. "To my queen, for being the center of my universe." Nkem sighed, her heart swelling with joy. She would save the note in her keepsake drawer alongside a dozen others like it. Her husband wasn't just successful, he was thoughtful, something she bragged about often to her best friend Nina. When Nkem spotted Nina approaching their usual spot, she got excited, called out to her and said, "Nina, look what my husband bought me, a diamond earring," she said, pointing at her diamond earrings. Nina's smile faltered for a split second before she recuperated herself. Girl, lucky you. Uche is really the gold standard though. You met a wonderful man," she said. If only Nkem had caught the simmering envy in Nina's eyes, she would have taken note earlier on that Nina was not really her friend. Nina had always been a high achiever herself. In university, she was a girl who had the best grades, dressed impeccably, and seemed to have the world at her feet. But what would make her become so envious of her friend Nkem? Her confidence at some point began to wane when Nkem met Uche during a charity gala their mutual friend had organized. While Nina was busy networking with Lagos elite, Uche had been drawn to Nkem's quiet grace. Nkem was a scholarship student raised by her widowed mother. She had never expected herself to grab the attention of a well-to-do man like Uche. Over time, their love story unfolded like a Nollywood romance, from surprise dates to Uche paying off her mother's hospital bills. He seemed too good to be true. When he proposed during a weekend getaway in Zanzibar, Nina had been the first person Nkem called and screamed her lungs out. Nina feigned joy. She pretended to be happy for her, but the bitterness in her heart was growing by the day. Her own relationship were fleeting. She struggled to find love, let alone get engaged and get married. Watching Nkem live the dream she had always envisioned for herself became unbearable for her. Her envy started subtly. Nina began planting seed of doubt in Uche's mind. Uche, Nkem's husband. During one of their chance encounters at a business event, Nina leaned in conspiratory. She said to Uche, "I just wanted to mention something out of concern." Her voice laced with hesitation. I've been hearing some whispers about Nkem back from school, but I never, thought to believe it. She's my friend and I would not pay attention to such gossips. Uche frowned. "What kind of whispers and gossip are you talking about?" "Oh well, just some silly rumors about her being involved in runs, aborting many babies, pushing drugs, all those kind of things. I didn't believe them all, of course, but I thought you should just be aware as her husband." Uche's jaw tightened, but he kept his composure. "Thank you, Nina. I appreciate your concern," he said. Nina left frustrated, saying that her plan did not really work. At home that day, Uche studied his wife as she cheerfully recounted her day, moving in and out of the kitchen. Despite Nina's words, nothing about Nkem seemed untrustworthy. But still, he resolved to gently encourage his wife, Nkem, to distance herself from Nina, considering that she was her friend and she had the mind to come tell him such things about her best friend. He did not categorically state to Nkem what Nina said to him, but he kept encouraging her to move a nudge away from Nina. But you know how these things are. Nkem did not listen. When Nina saw that her maligning tactics failed, she decided to go spiritual, as she was already diabolic unknown to Nkem, her best friend. She visited her regular herbalist in a remote village. The old man studied her carefully as she explained her request. The herbalist said to her, "Okay, so you want to ruin your friend's life?" He asked with a voice raspy. "No, I don't want to ruin her life. I just want to humble her a bit. I want her to learn humility. She flaunts her life as if others don't matter. Can you imagine? Every day he bought me a car, diamond earring, trip to Paris. Is that what I came to this world to be hearing? Baba, just humble her a bit, that's all." The herbalist chuckled, knowingly but said no more. He handed over a small coral bead necklace to her. "Give this to her. The moment she wears it, her happiness will turn sour. But beware, this is no ordinary magic." And Nina waved off the warning immediately without allowing him finish. Determined to proceed and to teach Nkem a lesson, she headed home. Before she gave Nkem the beads, she needed to know when the right time was, so she thought to gather information about Nkem and her husband, and there was no better way to do so other than using her snake monitoring spirit. She uses this snake to monitor people, anyone she wants on her watch list, from business associate to love interest. Now, it's her best friend Nkem. What a life. Late one night, under the light of a full moon, Nina sat in her bedroom, her face twisted in determination. On the floor before her lay a circle of chalk markings, candles, and a coiled python with scales that shimmered like oil in dim light. The herbalist's cryptic warning played in her mind, but her obsession overshadowed any lingering caution. The python's eyes glowed faintly as Nina whispered incantation taught to her by the herbalist. She summoned the spirit of the serpent, Oba of the wind, to do her bidding. She said to the serpent, "Enter Nkem's home, watch her, break her spirit, report to me all that you see." The python uncoiled, its movement naturally fluid, as if responding to her words. With a sharp hiss, it slithered towards the open window and disappeared into the night. Nina exhaled, exhilarated yet anxious. Her heartbeat quickened as she imagined the snake invading Nkem's perfect home. The next morning, Nkem woke up to an unsettling silence in the house. She stretched, expecting to hear Uche's usual hum from the kitchen, but there was only silence. Padding barefoot to the living room, she stopped short. A large snake was coiled on her footmat, its head raised, its eyes fixed on her with an unsettling intelligence. Nkem gasped, stumbling back. "Jesus Christ," she shouted, clutching her chest, ran out of the room and called Uche, her husband. "Baby, there's a snake in the house," she exclaimed. Uche, who was already at work, was alarmed but practical. "Don't panic, my dear, don't panic. I'll call the security immediately. Stay somewhere safe until they arrive, okay?" Nkem was already in the kitchen, her eyes darting nervously as she locked the door behind her. From the safety of the kitchen, she heard faint hissing, as if the snake was stirring her house. Back in her room, Nina sat leg-crossed, her eyes closed in deep concentration. She could see everything the snake saw. Nkem's trembling hands, her retreat to the kitchen, her whispered prayers. "She's scared." Ha 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 ha. Nina giggled, a cruel laugh tugging on her lips. She directed the snake to slither towards the master's bedroom, where Nkem told her she kept her personal journals and private memoirs. The snake obeyed. Nina's vision shifted as she used the serpent's eyes to peer into Nkem's personal things. She saw a neatly organized closet, A bedside table with love notes from Uche and a framed photo of the couple smiling radiantly on their Zanzibar getaway. Nina jealously fled. Everything about this girl is just too perfect. She muttered bitterly. When the security arrived, they managed to corner and remove the snake. But Nkem remained unsettled. She couldn't shake the feeling that its presence was more than a coincidence. She confided in her pastor during a prayer session later that week. "It felt deliberate, sir," she said, her voice trembling. "It was as if someone sent it." The pastor frowned deeply. His spirit stirred. "Nkem, there are forces at work here. The enemy does not rest when jealousy takes root. We must pray and break any connection to the serpent spirit." As they prayed, Nina, who was miles away, felt an unbearable heat radiate through her chest. She clutched her heart, gasping for air as the spiritual link between her and the snake began to die. That night, Nina tried summoning the snake again, but it did not return. Instead, she saw visions of a radiant light breaking through her shadowy circle, scattering her chalk markings and snuffing out her candles. "No!" she screamed, throwing the herbalist charm across the room. "I was so close!" she exclaimed. On Nkem's birthday, Nina presented the bead she got from the herbalist to her. "It's a special piece, Nkem," putting it around Nkem's neck. "I thought it would suit you perfectly. That's why I bought it." Nkem hugged her friend tightly, thinking she only got a birthday gift, unaware of the storm brewing. That night, Uche came home late and unusually angry. When Nkem asked about his day, he shouted at her, "Why do you care? You only seem interested in spending my money, nothing else. Lazy woman." Nkem froze. It was unlike him to speak to her that way. Over the following weeks, things worsened. Uche began accusing her of being unfaithful, of withholding her allowances, and cancelling their planned vacation to Santorini. He seized all the cars he bought for her, withdrew her passport, and everything more. "I don't know who you are anymore," he said coldly one evening. Nkem, heartbroken and confused, went to Nina for comfort. Nina pretended to console her friend, all the while very happy in her heart for the chaos in her friend's home. But her triumph and happiness was short-lived. One night, Nina woke to find her bedroom filled with shadows that seemed to pulse and writhe. Spirits of snake moving up and down. A chilling voice whispered to her, "You unleashed us." Terrified, she ran out of the room. Early that morning, she went to the herbalist demanding an explanation. The herbalist said to her, "You were warned," he said, his tone unapologetic. "The curse doesn't distinguish between the giver and the receiver. Until the bead is destroyed by its wearer, it will consume both of you." "Ah, Baba, you didn't tell me that." "Well, now you know. Leave my hut," he said to her. Nina's nightmare grew worse as days turned into weeks. She was no longer the composed, sharp-dressed woman who walked confidently into business meetings. Her once pristine apartment became cluttered with burnt candles, ashes, and discarded charms. Dark circle hollowed her eyes as the spiritual backlash from her actions consumed her body and mind. Meanwhile, Nkem's life was slowly returning to normal. After weeks of prayer and support from her pastor, she felt a renewed sense of strength. Her bond with Uche, though strained, was slowly healing. He had begun to apologize for his recent behavior, admitting he couldn't understand why he had acted so out of character. But Nkem's intuition told her the battle was far from being over. Something or someone was still working against her, and she needed to fight to the end. One day, during a quiet prayer session, the pastor suddenly stopped mid-sentence. His eyes fluttered close, and he spoke as if in a trance. "Nkem," he said solemnly, "there is a woman close to you. Her heart burns with envy. She is the one that has been using that serpent to spy on your life and spread chaos in your home." Nkem gasped, clutching the edge of her seat. "Who is it, sir?" The pastor opened his eyes, meeting hers with certainty. "The Lord shows me a name, Nina." The name struck Nkem like a thunderclap. Her mind quickly raced through the memories of Nina's sly comment, her too perfect consolation during Uche's sudden hostility, and the oddly intense interest she had taken in her life. "Nina? How can it be her? Why would she do that to me?" Nkem said, her voice trembling. The man of God said, jealousy is a dangerous spirit, Nkem, but vengeance is not yours to take. Confront her, but do so with the armor of prayer. The truth will reveal itself. The next day, Nkem invited Nina over under the guise of sharing some exciting news. Nina, who was always desperate to know what was happening in Nkem's life, eagerly accepted. When Nina arrived, her smile faltered as she saw Nkem's calm yet resolute expression. I've been doing some thinking, Nkem began, offering Nina a seat in the living room. And praying too. Praying? Nina asked, her voice betraying a flicker of unease. Huh, I didn't know you pray, oh. Yes, I do. And it became clear to me that not everyone in my life wishes me well. Nkem's eyes bore into Nina, who shifted uncomfortably. Nina, I know what you've done. The lies, the snake, the cursed bead, I know it all. Nina's heart raced. She opened her mouth to protest, but Nkem raised a hand to silence her. Nina, I trusted you. I confided in you. I celebrated with you. And you even comforted me when things weren't going well. Likewise, I did for you. And this is how you repay me? Nina's composure shattered. Tears spilled down her cheeks, her voice breaking as she stammered. I didn't mean for you to go that far. Nkem, I was just, please, I was just jealous of you. I'm sorry. You have everything I've ever wanted, Nkem. The love, the success, the respect. I couldn't take it anymore. Why was everything good happening to you? And you thought destroying my life would fix yours? Nkem asked her, her voice firm but tinged with sadness. I didn't think, Nina admitted, sobbing. I wasn't thinking. I was consumed by envy. I'm sorry. Nkem stood, her presence commanding, as she stared down at Nina. Nina, I can't undo what you've done, but I can forgive you. Not for your sake, but for mine. I won't let your hatred poison my heart. Nina looked up, her tear-streaked face filled with shame. I will make it right. I will tell Uche everything. Don't bother, Nkem interrupted. He already knows, and so does everybody in the society. That's punishment enough for you for now. As Nina left Nkem's home, her mind swelled with regret. But her confession came too late. Word of her deed spread like wildfire within their social circle, isolating her from friends and professional contacts alike. Her career plummeted, and she found herself consumed by loneliness, a stark reminder of the consequences of envy. Nkem and Uche worked together to rebuild their trust and marriage. The experience had scarred them, but it also deepened their bond. Nkem became more private, sharing less about her personal life with others, and focusing on her family and her faith. She decided that whenever any good thing happens to her, she will only share it with her mom and her husband, no one else. One evening, as they sat on the balcony overlooking the Lagos skyline, Uche took her hand and said, "We've been through so much, my dear, but I know one thing for sure. I will never let anyone or anything come between us again." Nkem smiled, her heart full of gratitude. She touched Uche's face and said, "Neither will I. No more sharing of success stories to anybody." Nina's story became a cautionary tale whispered among their mutual friends and acquaintances. Nkem, now wiser, learned that not every friend is a true friend, and not every success should be shared. In the end, Nkem's strength, faith, and ability to forgive became her greatest victory, while Nina's envy served as a stark reminder of the destructive power of jealousy. Not just its target, but its wielder. Success is sweeter when cherished in silence, and contentment is found not in comparison but in gratitude. This story taught a very valid lesson. Tell me what you think about Nina. The fact that that girl had everything, yet envious of the little that Nkem had. Tell me what you think about monitoring spirits. Have you ever had such encounter or know someone who did? Let's talk about it in the comment section and learn from each other's experience. Did you enjoy this story? Kindly subscribe, turn on your post notification bell to be the first when another amazing story is made available. Like and share so others will see this story and learn this lesson. Till the next story lovers, enjoy your day. Bye.